Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Dr. Mike Vandermark and welcome to ADMN 6360 Management Concepts and Issues. Very happy to have you with us, and this short video will tell you a little bit about the design of the course. Also allow you, after you view the video, to to sign in and tell us a little bit about yourself. So first, a little bit about the book. The book is called Becoming a Master Manager. It's by Robert Quinn and 4 other authors, the 6th edition, and the 6th edition is the only edition that you can use for the course because previous editions have older information, and the newer book, the 6th edition, has the information that we use for evaluation and quizzes and so on. So be sure to use the 6th edition. After you look at this video, you'll see that there are a number of questions below. And the questions are for me to learn a bit about you and for the other people in the course to learn a little bit about you. And as you'll see the questions, you'll see one of the questions is, who are you? Say a little bit about yourself, and also, how do you prefer to be addressed? Some people, for example, let's say there's Robert, and Robert might like to be called Robert, or he might prefer to be called Bob, and so on. So let us know what name you prefer, how to address you. So I use that. I address students often in the class. And sign when you post in the discussion area. Sign, but just put your name down there, like you'll see me, and I'll put Dr. Mike or Dr. Vandermark after my post typically. And for you, put the name that you would like others to use to refer to you, because there's a lot of back and forth discussion. So if your name is Robert and you prefer Robert, then after you post a response to a discussion question, then put Robert. If it's Bob, then put Bob. Otherwise, what I will use is the formal name that is entered into the system as your name. So please help us address you with the name you prefer by signing your posts with the name you prefer, and let us know with that response to that very first discussion or question below. Other questions below: what is your program of study? When do you want to graduate? I'm reading them here on the screen. What do you want to do after you graduate? What line of work are you in now? Where are you living? Anything else that you'd like us to know? And the reason for this is many students find that they are either in a similar program, a similar line of work. Maybe they're military and have been in or are in or have been in the same unit or location. So there's a number of reasons for all of this. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You can learn a little bit about me by clicking on the link. I'll tell you the 30-second version is after my bachelor's degree, I joined the Air Force. I flew as an Air Force pilot for 10 years. Then I flew as a corporate pilot for 10 years. I wanted to go to the airlines as a pilot. They weren't hiring at the time, so I did what many of you are doing, going back to school. And I chose industrial organizational or organization development psychology, so the study of psychology of organizations. And I completed a PhD in human and organizational systems, became a licensed industrial organizational psychologist in 1990, and developed a consulting practice. Along the way, the airlines actually did start hiring, so I flew for what is now American Airlines for about 5 or 6 years, and then I left the airline industry after almost 20 years and decided to go and start my own consulting practice. And I've been in that line of work of consulting to organizations large and small, to city and state and national governments, to different countries around the world for about 20 years or so. And I continue to fly airplanes, but not for the airlines anymore. I've finished up that line of work and truly enjoyed it. So I have military experience, been to many of the places where several of you are if you're in the military, and have spent quite a lot of time in the area of management, leadership, organizational change, transformation, OD, as you know, some of you are in OD programs. So I've been around the block or two, as you can tell by looking at me. I'm no 25-year-old, but been there a few times. So that's a little bit about me. If you want to learn more, you can click on the website there at the bottom of the page. Let's talk about the design of the course. This course is designed similar to other courses that I have designed, and its probably most unique feature is that there are no APA papers. You have no long APA essays to write. There's no research. There's no case study. There's no team project. What there is a substantial amount, an appropriate amount as directed by the Higher Learning Commission and the Department of Education, actually, out of Washington, that have a lot to say to universities about what kinds of activities must be present on an online course. And because this is an online course, there's a lot of activities. There are 4 activities each week, things that you actually do, and then comments or discussion that you post about the doing of the things that you do. So there are 4 activities each week, followed by a discussion of your activity. And you'll see when you get into the instructions for these activities that you'll see that your post is must have a certain word count. The word count is 150 or more words, does not include references, does not include copied material and so on. 150 words of your own in response to the discussion question that is in response to the activity. And then another 150 words in response to another student who has also responded to the activity. The activities are due on, and you'll see these in the thread, an activity is due each Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of weeks 1 through 7, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on week 8, because we end the course at 5 o'clock on Friday of week 8. The response to another person has also got to be 150 words. Now, your initial response to an activity, your initial response, this is a real important point, folks, must be posted on time. That means by midnight of the day it's due. You can certainly post it earlier. You can post a response that's due on Friday. You can post it on Wednesday. You can post it on Monday. No later than the date indicated. By midnight Central Standard Time on the date indicated. And it must have 150 words in order to get credit. And it must, and this is very, very important, folks, it must be cited and referenced. That means that your response to the discussion question, not to another person, your initial response to a discussion question that follows the activity that you do must be cited. That means you have in the text that you type is a citation, usually the book that we're using, or another book or another source. Sometimes you might find that you're looking for a YouTube video or a TED video or something. But the in-text citation must be present in order to get credit. So if you just freehand 150 words of your own opinion, that's fine, but you won't get credit for it. Also, in addition to that citation, you must have a appropriately cited reference entry, appropriately formatted, reference entry. So the reference list is something that has, this is the APA formatted reference list, and you'll see those, I'm sure, in the first wave of posts. So I'm sure there's some of you who know how to do this, and maybe some who are new to it. But each post, each initial response to the activities must have an in-text citation and a reference entry that keeps it academic to receive credit for the activity and your discussion and response to it. Okay, 4 activities per week. Another thing, the way the course is designed, on weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8, here's the evaluation piece. On weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8, there is a 40-question multiple choice quiz. There's 40 questions. They're multiple choice. You will have access to the quiz on the first day of weeks 1, 3, 5, and 7. You have 2 full weeks to complete an open book quiz. The quizzes are developed, written by the authors, so it's not a faculty written quiz. The quizzes are written by the authors, and what I've noticed over the years teaching this course, they get more challenging each quiz. So quiz 1 is not as challenging as 2, 2 is not as challenging as 3, and quiz 4 is the most challenging. All right, so there's 4 quizzes. There are 4 discussion activities each week, and you'll see that there are 1,000 points for the course, and of the 1,520 of those points are made via discussion. All right, and you can see the breakdown in the course guide. But each discussion point then contributes to the 1,000 points. So you have a The first discussion question of each week, the first discussion question is worth 20 points. The remaining 3 discussion questions are worth 15 points each. So that's 65 points. You'll notice when you get into the course that you have an option on quiz question number 1, due on Wednesday. You have an option to respond to an additional question that I post for you for extra credit. For example, if you post a response to the discussion question on Wednesday by Wednesday night, by Friday night, no later than Friday night, and often on Thursday morning, depending on my schedule, I will post a question for you. And the question must be responded with 150 plus words. And if I want an in-text citation and so on, I'll ask for it. If not, you can just answer the question. Again, these are optional, but if you choose to do that, then you get 5 additional discussion points. And the discussion points are where the money is on this course, folks. By meeting all of the discussion points, of which there are now 70 per week that include the extra credit, that's the bulk of the points. That's the 520 points. 480 points come from the 4 quizzes. There's 40 questions per quiz, and each quiz is worth 3 points. If you do the math, that's 480 points for quizzes, 520 for a total of 1,000, 520 points from the discussion. Where people have got in trouble with this course to the point of failing the course, not getting a B-, getting a C, which does no good, is because they've fallen short on discussion more often than they've fallen short on the quizzes. The quizzes are challenging. There's not too many people that I can recall who have maxed out each of the 4 quizzes. They're pretty challenging. They're written by the authors, as I mentioned. You have a full 2 weeks to complete an open book test quiz. All right, which takes me to the topic of late submissions. Late submissions are not allowed in this course without prior approval. The reason I'm emphasizing prior is I can't tell you how many times a student sends an email Monday morning with an excuse why he or she did not post the quiz, to which I say, I'm sorry, no credit. And the reason for no credit, there's 2 reasons. One is you've had access to the quiz for 2 full weeks and it's open book. 2, an after the fact request for some kind of consideration provides an unfair advantage to the person who's asking for it. If you get some kind of after the fact means after midnight the day the quiz is due, or 5 o'clock on week 8. If you get some kind of special consideration, then everybody else needs special consideration to be fair. And of course, that's just not manageable. So you'll find I hold rigidly to these policies. There's just no credit for late submissions on your discussion. If you post a discussion response on Thursday that was due Wednesday, you might as well just not even post it. You can if you want to, but you're not going to get credit for it. If you submit a quiz late, and Blackboard will tell you if it's late, if that quiz is late, and I've had people submit them 15 minutes late, midnight 15, no credit. It just doesn't work. There's absolutely no leeway, and again, it's because you have access to this quiz, each quiz for 2 full weeks, folks. So my suggestion, and people who have done well have gotten started early on the quizzes, and some folks just get much of the discussion done early in the week. Now, your discussion posts in response to the question you're being asked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is due by that day. Your response to another person that you'll see for each of those questions is not due until Sunday. So how to manage this course? If it were me, I would say I'm going to get started on the quiz as soon as it's released on Monday of weeks 1, 3, 5, and 7. I'm going to get started early in the week and be a day or 2 ahead of the activities and discussion posts that are required on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you do that, I have a very good feeling about how well you'll do in the course. Okay, what else can I tell you? I've got some notes here. There is a spreadsheet. You'll see a link below here in the week 1 threads. You'll see a thread titled Track Your Points Spreadsheet. And it's an Excel spreadsheet. Excel is required in UIW online classes, so you should have Excel. And it's pretty easy to use. If you open it, you'll see there's some instructions there, but each week, all you do is type in the number of points that you received for the week, the discussion points, which I typically have those posted on Monday morning, and your quiz. When the weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8, put your quiz score in the appropriate spot, and what the Excel spreadsheet will do will calculate your percentage for that week cumulatively throughout the course. So at any one time, at the end of weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, when you have your discussion points from me and your quiz points, you can take your quiz points off the Blackboard and plug those in. It will tell you the percentage, and then below that there's a table that'll tell you what your letter grade is as you move through the course. Blackboard won't do all of that for you. That's why I created this spreadsheet. So you should know at any time you want what your letter grade is week by week for the course. So have a look at that and be sure you can become comfortable. If you have any questions about track your points, let me know. Let's see, what do I have here? Challenging a quiz question. I mentioned earlier that the quiz questions are created by the book's authors. If you disagree with an answer that is provided, for example, if you chose C and then you find, oh, the answer is D, and you think C is more correct than D, you can challenge that, but you must convince me why your answer is more correct. Why your answer is more correct, and that argument must be cited. I'm not going to pay much attention to, well, I really think that managers have to do this or that, and that's my opinion. Well, that's your opinion, but I'm going to go with what the authors of the book and the quizzes have for us. So again, you can challenge the question, but you have to argue why yours is more correct than the answer indicated by the quiz and by the authors. What else do I have? Extra credit. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, each week on Wednesday you can earn 5 extra credit points, discussion points, by responding to my question for you. Again, it's optional. You don't have to do it. If you do respond to my discussion question, this is Wednesday, I might ask you, so George, tell me what you think about blah, 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 blah. And then you type 150 words more. If you want to keep that conversation going with me, all you need to do is copy your answer, and I think you can just click on, in Blackboard, click on email and email me the answer. And I am happy offline via email to continue the discussion of these questions for as long as you like. But I don't want to do it in the classroom and cause you more work. So when you respond to my discussion question, I typically don't, I just leave it. If you respond to my additional discussion question, extra credit is what I'm talking about, extra credit for that DQ1 on Wednesday. If you respond to that and I respond back to you, if you want to keep that discussion going, by all means, just send me an email and we can keep going by email as long as you like. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at my list here. I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. Okay, yeah, I think so. One last thing I didn't mention, and that is when you post online, that the grammar, your writing errors should be minimal. So if there are a number of grammatical problems, if there's lots of writing errors in your post, then you'll see no credit for it. Bear in mind that you are judged. We all are. You're judging me right now on watching this video and what you think of it. And people judge you, whether they know you or not, by how well you write. It's just a fact of life when we deal with online courses. So take the time to make sure that, you know, the punctuation is right, it's grammatically correct, that everything is readable, and you'll be in great shape. Okay, let's see, one other thing. Each week there is a little video. It's actually a narrated PowerPoint slideshow that takes us through the book, and you'll see that there's an introduction to the book, and then there's modules 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then there's a concluding chapter. And weeks one, let's see, I think, how was this set up? Week 1 and 2, we look at the introduction and module 1. Weeks 3 and 4 is module 2. Weeks 4 and 5 is module 3. Have I got that right? Weeks 4 and 5, and weeks I've got that goofed up. You'll have to look in the thing. I'm trying to recall it from memory, but what we do is we look at the introductory, then module 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the closing conclusion module in the book, and it's all laid out in the course guide. Which, by the way, please take a look at the course guide. It'll show you all the activities are all laid out there. And let's see, one other thing. The only other thing I can think of class policy wise is, and this doesn't happen very often, but if you do not participate in discussion at all during the week, you just don't show up, and there's a quiz due and you take that quiz does not count. You can't just be absent all week and show up for a quiz. You have to participate in order to get quiz credit and to get participation credit. So, all right, that's it for me. I think if you have any questions, by all means, again, after this video, take a look down below. Please be sure to respond to those questions so we can get to know you, so I can get to know you. Let us know how you want to be addressed in the class. And hang on, I think it's a good class. The feedback from the class, I've taught it quite a while now, is typically pretty good, especially if you're in a management role or want to be in a management role, or if you want to understand people who are in a management role. So glad to have all of you with me, and thanks for hanging in with the video, and I'll see you in the threads, folks. Take care.